Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Passport Bros. Um, I'm sure most of you have heard of what that means at this point. Obviously, it's just a new slang term for the same thing, expat or something along those lines, finding someone abroad. But more specifically, we're going to be talking about the theoreticals of it because I haven't personally done it. So I'm essentially going to be showing my perspective before doing it. There's a lot of video content available from a lot of different perspectives, and I'm going to be going through some of that content today and actually analyzing parts of it. Um, and basically, the idea is, here is my perspective on Passport Bros from every angle currently, because this is really all I have as far as a perspective on it. And I think that for a lot of people listening, if you haven't traveled like I haven't traveled, then we're going to be at the same kind of place here. But I guess the idea is that ideally I want to eventually try this out for myself. So I want to get this kind of theory out here before I do it so that I can compare what my theory of how it will be before going versus my like actuality of how it actually goes down after I go, if that makes sense. So,
Boyos, thanks for tuning in. What a great fucking day today. Absolutely best day ever.
so I got a bunch of videos lined up. This video from a Black Pill channel. This guy here, as you can tell, it sounds like he's having a good time. Um, this guy, Medican Coping, he has streamed a ton of content of him C-maxing in Southeast Asia, and it's kind of just day-to-day living videos and like vlogs, which I would say that style of content, it's kind of outdated, honestly, at this point as far as like being on the YouTube platform, right? But I think with this context, it's actually, I mean, I don't know anyone else that's actually doing this period at all. So I think he's basically the only guy doing it that I've really seen. Basically, like um, the most truest form of showcasing the actual lifestyle, just living day to day, just walking around in Southeast Asia. And I haven't watched all of the videos, but maybe it makes sense for me to watch some more of them just so I can see a little bit more of what's going on with that. But from what I understand, he was living in Eastern Europe and had a not the most paying job, saved up some money and went, I want to say, 2 or 3 times to Southeast Asia for an extended period of time, maybe a few months. And I believe that he, partakes in, providing like women that provide services. I believe that he, works with those kinds of ladies, which that's a whole nother topic in and of itself. I think my stance is that it's kind of like a Hail Mary, to be quite honest. And I don't think I'm at that point where I need to throw that Hail Mary just yet. I would like to try it out from a different standpoint first before having to make that jump. But yeah, just to start, I mean, this guy seems like before going, he's very depressed and really hated life. Um, you know, um, but like after going, it seems like he's a lot happier. And when he came back the first time, I remember him um, wanting to go back as soon as possible. So, and this guy, you would consider him like an inky. So, this is, I mean, there may be other examples, but this is the main example that I've seen from a real, like, boots on the ground example of someone C-maxing or geomaxing. And it improved his life significantly. Now, I don't know all the ways that it improved his life. It could have been, from the most part, just from a financial standpoint, because I don't think he was doing well financially. So I don't know the difference. Like, if you're already doing well financially, how much will geomaxing or cvaxing truly improve your life? But at the same time, there's people like Tate where he's doing well, very well for himself, but even he geomax necessarily to like Romania, I want to say it is. So it is, of course, more than just financial with that. So again, I'm just kind of going over like the different perspectives and theories and theoreticals of traveling in general. Now, I mean, the main question is like, why would you want to travel? I mean, I think from my perspective, at least, it's because where I'm currently living, it just doesn't really offer me what I'm looking for in life. Like, I don't have a sense of community, right? Let me go back to the fire. I don't have a sense of community. I don't have friends. I don't have prospects, dating prospects, and I feel very distant from my family as well. And so this is kind of a Hail Mary for that. It's not a Hail Mary to start working with service providing women. It's more of a Hail Mary to get a social circle, get some dating prospects, and, you know, potentially build a family. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. That's the standpoint that I'm coming from. I know that there's a few different, you know, approaches. You could just do these one standpoint where you're just a digital nomad, where you're going into sort of quasi co-working spaces across the world. There's another standpoint where it's more so quote unquote expat, where potentially you even are already married and you just move to another country to have a higher standard of living per se. And then I would say this is the other iteration of geomaxing or being a passport bro, where I would say passport bro is more of a bachelor lifestyle where you're partying and hanging out with women, where geomaxing is more potentially, you know, working with service providing women, or, you know, I'm not really sure. I guess it's just the world is your oyster at that point. You can kind of make it however you want. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, I'm going to also look at another perspective of this next video that I have is, it's this guy, Tech Lead, and he has a big channel, and he's basically like a forced MGTOW guy at this point. But he's not in the manosphere. He does tech videos and lifestyle videos, and he got divorced, which his divorce video more or less made him even more famous than before. But basically, he went traveling, and in the video, the first clip of the video is really all that we really even need to touch on. The rest of the video, it's more or less kind of irrelevant. It's just him showing pictures of like the city and stuff like that. But the first part of the video, I think it really speaks to, you know, one of the fears that I have with traveling specifically. So let me just put it on and then I'll talk about it afterwards.
So I've been putting this off for a while, but I think we need to talk. I've been feeling lost lately as a millionaire. Here I am floating somewhere in the middle of Japan, in Osaka actually. And if you saw my last video, I was all excited about getting into Japan, exploring Tokyo, but...
So right there, he's saying that before going, he was really excited to explore it and visit it. And I mean, as you can see, you know, he's feeling lost in life solo in Japan. And so he's going to get to another point, but I just want to say, like, again, I feel like the main thing about this isn't necessarily like the destination or the sights to be seen. I think it really just, again, comes down to the people and the social circle. And, you know, one of my fears is that it's just not going to be there when I move, or slash if I move.
I think that's kind of the tourist honeymoon phase, and now I've been here almost 2 weeks and I'm starting to just wonder, what am I even doing here? It's kind of like when you overstay a vacation and you're still on vacation and you're just wondering, shouldn't I be going home? And therein lies the problem for me, because here's as good as anywhere else. I don't really have a place to comfortably go back home to. There's nothing waiting for me there. So I might as well be here, but then it's kind of like I'm just floating around perpetually. Not to mention this passion I've had for photography.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I wanted to showcase, is that he has nothing back home for him. Just like I'm pretty sure many of you, you know, probably feel the same way as I do. You know, I don't have really any friends family, dating prospects, like I said. So it's like going to this foreign country, I feel like it's kind of going to be the exact same thing, which is exactly what he's showcasing here in this video. Basically, that, um, he's walking around in the city alone, and, you know, it's just like walking around in your home city alone. No one cares about you, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I think you get the idea. So, it's just one of my fears as far as going overseas. And then I get there and it's just, maybe things are cheaper. Maybe the weather is different. Maybe people speak a different language, or maybe they look different. But at the end of the day, they don't care about you. They don't like you. They don't want you to be around. Um, and no dating prospects. So that's kind of what I'm seeing from that video. And, he's a millionaire, so it's definitely not money, right? And that kind of goes back to like the first video of Medican where, he wasn't doing that well financially, but, it seems like he's very happy being there. So I don't think it's like the financial aspect of it that is like the true marker of enjoyment of like traveling or just being alive or living. I think that it really comes down to like that social net aspect. And I don't know, I mean, like in the West at least, like it's just not really like that conducive. I feel like it's just so Swiss cheese and atomized that it's hard to really garner that social net. Um, so I'm gonna go to the next video though. So this one is Wheat Waffles on his new channel, and I feel like, I don't know, this perspective is a little bit different. He's not really talking about passport bros in general. He's talking just about traveling as a man. And I don't know. I thought it was just something to include. But maybe, I don't know. We're just gonna, well, basically, he's gonna talk about traveling as a man and like kind of the business implications of doing that from a time, uh, what's it called? Like a opportunity cost of time perspective. So, I mean, that's important and all, but my counter argument to this necessarily is that like, we're not traveling because we are concerned necessarily about like this growing or not growing our career or business. We're traveling because we you know we are not getting anything out of where we're currently at from a social perspective. But let's see what he has to say about it.
If you're inevitably going to have to do the work, why not just start it today? Build some assets, acquire some money, and then maybe after doing 5 years of working and building a business, let's say you get to the point where you can scale a business and you're not needed as much at that point anymore, or
I don't know. I feel like I feel like Wheat Waffles is like going kind of red pill in some of these videos, like full Hamza. I know that he likes Hamza. I've never really watched Hamza, but okay, so he's just talking about putting in the work, before traveling, which, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that per se. But it's just not really touching on like the point, I guess. Maybe it is unrelated, not to like kind of straw man his argument. I don't think it's like a terrible argument, but
you've got a remote business, such as myself, I could quite happily go traveling tomorrow if I wanted to, but I choose not to because I'm still trying to accrue my own wealth. But if you...
So, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring in this other perspective of traveling in general. So he's saying that I'm choosing not to travel because I just want to hunker down and build my business, build my wealth. And it's like, okay, that's great and all, but as you can see, if we just literally go back to the previous video, this guy, Tech Lead, is feeling lost as a millionaire solo in Japan. So I don't think that the money aspect is really like the main marker. I remember Jordan Peterson saying something along the lines of, once you meet $50,000, $60,000, and it will vary by country, of course, but once you meet like an amount where you can kind of be self-sufficient, after that point, the money is kind of irrelevant. It doesn't really add anything to your lifestyle, and it's really true. It's basically, it just comes down to like what luxury restaurant or luxury watch am I going to buy this month or this week? What car, make and model am I going to buy? That doesn't really affect your life that much versus can I even own a car versus can I even pay rent or eat food? And so I think focusing on the monetary side of it is clearly not really the right approach because as you can see, Millionaire is lost and alone in Japan. So I just wanted to include that perspective in this video. Let's see. So the next, I'm gonna play some real Passport Bro videos, which are like these TikToks. I don't know these people really, but basically, now that we understand essentially like, flying out as a normal person, maybe you will be happy when you fly out, like the first guy. Maybe you will be lonely and sad, like the second guy. But at first, now I'm going to show some videos where I don't know what's going on here. It's just some cringe, like, social media influencer stuff. I don't know if it's true. I have no idea. I have no context, and neither do you because we haven't done this, right? So this is all I'm getting as far as like, the other side of like traveling and being a passport bro per se is that like, this is all we're really able to see. We don't get to see the day to day except for in, the CMAX live stream vlog. So, from these videos, it seems like a good lifestyle.
I swear I wouldn't be so weak.
So it's some black guy, like, I don't know, kissing some attractive girl, whatever. I don't know how it necessarily pertains to being a passport bro. I don't know what country he's in. But yeah, and then there's another one. Passport Bros Europe takeover. Yeah, so then another, I guess it's the same guy. So he's like kissing some other random girl, some random white girl. So
a day in the life of a passport bro in the Philippines. First, we knock out some work at a remote jobs. We make US dollars overseas, which basically quadruples our money in the Philippines. We ride our scooters over to a remote beach to grab some lunch. The food is delicious and the prices are wild.
How much was this bottle like?
So this guy, like you said, he's like a digital nomad. He's living in the Philippines and he's working full remote. And I mean, that's great and all, right? But like he's touching on how, he worked a couple hours in the day or whatever for his job or something along those lines. And then he went on a scooter and went to the beach or something like that. But like what he's not including is like, where did he meet all these people, right? Like, how does he know that guy in the frame there? How did he meet the girls? Like, the social circle aspect of this, like what's going on there? Because like I don't really care if like the food is cheap. Oh, it's like $5 or something. Oh, it's like an $8 bottle. Like that's kind of irrelevant to me because like if I spend $100 on a bottle at a club in America or something like that, it would still just be me at the table. Like you know what I mean? It would just be me buying the bottle for myself. And it's like, okay, if I'm just going to go to the Philippines or wherever and buy the bottle and it costs $8 instead, but it's still going to be for myself, then why would I go and do that anyway? You know what I mean?
$8. We're at a restaurant. I was the translation.
The $8 bottle did not disappoint. The whole table caught a buzz. We found a beach.
And so yeah, they're just like drinking from the bottle. They bought the one bottle, it's like whiskey maybe, something like that. It's like a brown liquor, and then they're all drinking it straight out of the bottle at the table. They're like outside eating at some restaurant. There's some girls at the table, there's some guys at the table.
Beach club over there where we were able to sober up a little bit, slackline and surf. The sun was going down, so we scared the cows away from our scooters.
And then, they talked about surfing on the beach, and then I guess there were some cows near their scooters, so they moved the cows or whatever.
Went
before-
back to the local beach where we saw a sign for a full moon party and knew we had to check it out. We partied with some more travelers, made some more friends, and then we
And so I guess this might answer my question. They found a full moon party on the beach and went there and met more travelers. So I guess like traveling overseas, your friends essentially are just going to be like other travelers. So just like people coming and going. And actually, now that I think about it, Tech Lead mentioned that as well. He said, "Oh, in this city, there's a lot of tourists, but maybe those are my people, you know." And so it's like, okay, I guess, you know, I'm just going to be friends with like other tourists, you know, when living abroad or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah. And the other thing about this is like, you know, one of my friends, he has traveled abroad and he lived there for maybe a year or two. And, you know, one thing he said was like, you will never be fully integrated with that society. You know, you're always going to kind of essentially be an outsider. So it's like, if I'm already an outsider in my home country, more or less, and then I just go to another country and I'm still an outsider, like, I don't think the goal, the goal is really, I'm not sure if the goal is being accomplished there, right? So it's just kind of like, is this, what I'm trying to get at is like, is this course of action actually going to accomplish the goal that I want, right? Is it actually going to enable me to get like a good, healthy social circle, dating prospects, you know, people that care about me or not? And, you know, I'm not really so sure, but this is like, it's just theory at this point because I haven't done it. And this is all that, you know, we kind of have right now, right? Most of us haven't done it. It's just a bunch of BS being thrown around. You know, you have feminists, and then you have red pill guys, and then you have passport bro videos that are like just cringe TikToks, and that's about it. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next video, which is more of the like, this is like a feminist. And so she is like talking about passport bros. So you have feminists talking about it. And, you know, I don't know. I feel like these feminists have like somewhat of a point. Like they truly don't need us. Like it really doesn't affect them if we leave, to be honest. So it's like, why do they care? And so they're kind of just like staunchly laughing at us as we do this. And I think that they're missing the mark though. So I've heard a lot of arguments where they say that it's like, oh, you're going to this other country to like take advantage of women, or you just don't like dealing with a strong, independent woman. It's like, well, that might be true for like a very small minority of guys, but I think mostly it's you know, that we can't even get any girls here. And the ones that we are able to talk to are just like complete whores and very, very low tiers. So it's like, you know, if you can get any, that is. But I mean, really what it comes down to is we can't really get much of anything. So it's like kind of just like, this is a Hail Mary. Like, can we even get a date? You know, do I truly have to fly overseas just to like get a date, you know? So we're going to see what she says though, so.
Ladies, we have to talk. Our men are leaving, they truly are. We've pushed too far, we asked too much of them, and now they are leaving. The best of them... Sorry, the best of them are leaving. So who's going to provide for us? Because I don't want to work. Who's going to build buildings and bridges to go from one place to another? Who's going to lift us up when we faint? Because it happens all the time. Who's going to go to war? Not the soy boys, not me. Ladies, our men, real men, build this nation, and we complain about having to clean the kitchen and period pains. Like, what is wrong with us? I want to say to the men watching this, we need you. Please stay. Bonjour, my name is...
Yeah, I mean, she's just being facetious with this, you know, saying that like, oh, men build bridges and go fight wars. But like in reality, it's like we just have technology doing that for us nowadays anyway. Like we have hydraulic operating machinery that builds bridges and cranes that move massive things. We have robots and drones fighting wars for us, and a lot of the war is technological warfare related things. So, they don't care. Why would they, right? So,
Alice, welcome back to my channel. Let me just start by saying that no, Western women aren't afraid of lame dudes leaving to find traditional women abroad. That's what
yeah. and it's true. Why would they be afraid of quote unquote lame dudes flying abroad when they already don't want to date us, right? So I think that there's some stuff being missed here, but it's like she said it right there without even saying it. It's like, no, lame dudes. Like, she doesn't want to date us anyway, right? Like, she's a young, attractive girl, whatever. Like, she won't give you the time of day. Like, it's not happening. Like, girls like that. So they don't want you anyway. So it's like, it kind of just comes down to like, okay, well, it's kind of irrelevant what their opinions are on the matter, because like, in actuality, like, they're not fighting for you to come back anyway, right? They don't care about you. Like, I want to say maybe Face LMS said once that like, girls want ugly men to die, and it's, kind of along the same grain as this. Basically, it's like, you're a lame guy. What does that mean? That means like unattractive or whatever. Now, maybe she doesn't want you to die, but they don't care about you. They definitely want you gone. So, of course, they're not going to care about you going abroad.
what passport bros are. I mean, seriously, what motivates you to leave your country, your friends, your family? Is that you're too scared of independent women?
So she's totally like missing the mark here as well. It's like, first off, what do you think motivates me to leave my quote unquote friends, family, and dating prospects? The lack thereof. I literally don't have any friends. My family doesn't really care about me, and I don't have any dating prospects. So I'm not scared of independent women. There are no independent women that even want me, and there are no dependent women that want me here. So no one's scared of it. It's just not even like an option.
You want someone who is dependent on you and serve you like your mom? You want a second mom, Joey? I mean, grow up, goddammit. I wish I could say, please do go away, but it also annoys me to think that foreign women will potentially have to deal with these dudes, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, you know? They're just gonna belittle you no matter what you do anyway, right? So whether you stay and maintain your inky status or try to go overseas and like get out of it, it's kind of irrelevant. Because they're going to, you know, belittle you regardless. And, you know, I guess I saw this, there's another video that also shows like, okay, let's say that maybe you can get a date. Like your dating prospects here anyway are trash. So I'm going to play this clip. And the funny part about this clip here is that, again, it's kind of like they're saying it without knowing. They have a 15-minute video blabbing about their perspective on it. But in between the lines is when they say the most important things. Like she said, she doesn't care about lame dudes going overseas. Exactly. We know that, right? She's not going to date you anyway here, so it's irrelevant. But in this clip, she touches on something that is just so hilarious. And so I'm going to let the TikTok part play. And then I'm also going to skip to another part of the video. And it's just mind-blowing what she says. So this is just a video example of like our actual dating prospects here in the West. So
What is your body count?
42.
36.
In the 40s, but
My body count when I was 14 was 7.
honestly, I lost count.
Yeah, I just don't know all of them.
How old are you?
18.
19.
Whole phases are very much necessary.
There's 5 dudes at my house, okay? All of them trained.
I slept with like a whole friend group.
I got blacked. This guy's 20 minutes after I his best friend.
And it's been said that I've got some good.
What we gotta rate ourselves?
A 10.
10.
A 10.
Men are the least needed members of society. Men are like, if I'm paying all the bills, then you should at least be cooking and cleaning the house.
Rule number one to being a boss bitch is being a bitch.
I used to date for personality, but now I'm dating for money.
Stop dating broke boys.
Here are a list of things I expect men to do in marriage. One, pay the rent, mortgage. Two, to do most of the cooking.
7-figure men do go for me.
A man doesn't need to take care of me. I'm gonna have my own kids.
I have a baby, I'm keeping it this time.
5 dudes. That's what's up.
That's
Yo.
And I know, like, you know, the girls in these videos are all kind of just ratchet, but, you know, and it's hyperbolic. But along the similar grain is a big majority of girls here, right? This is not that far from, like, the actual reality.
There's no hope for us right now.
This video is a hot mess.
Alright, so I'm just going to skip to 251 here. So she's basically just going to blab about how this is not like the real women in the West, and I don't know anyone personally that is like this. You know, all that jazz. Which, I mean, of course they're just going to say that. They're going to cover, oh, all my friends are traditional trad wives and all that stuff. But then she says this little tidbit here, and I'm going to let this play.
Or acting this way. Of course, I brought, women on my channel who have maybe said some crazy things, but it wasn't even to this degree. Well.
So that is kind of just reading between the lines right there. So she says, I brought women on my channel, questioned them, and they have not said crazy things to this degree. And then she has a long pause, shakes her head, and says, well, and it's like, yeah, there you go. There are normal women that say the crazy things, just like we saw in that TikTok video. So, I mean, obviously that's not like concrete proof in science, but you can just read between the lines that there is a massive amount of women that, even if maybe they don't go like that far to that extent, they're not that far behind. And so, back to the point of the previous video from the feminist, she doesn't want lame dudes being here anyway. Cool, right? But then on top of that, even if the lame dudes are able to garner anything, this is kind of what we're getting. So, one, we can't get anything. But two, if we were to stay here and get something, that's what we would get. And so the last video I want to do is just some girl talking about the differences of women overseas, kind of, which is kind of an interesting perspective just to think about the difference. So obviously the TikTok was very hyperbolic, right? And it's showing like edge cases of like super ratchet girls. But this explains kind of the societal differences of how it's really not that far between the super ratchet and like the normal girls and the trend.
Here. Personally, I see women here in the United States chasing independence and freedom away from their family. Statistically, the number of single 18 and 19-year-old girls getting into apartments or living situations with roommates has skyrocketed. Why? They don't want to live with their parents.
So there you go. So women in the West leave the house, get their own place, they're being independent, and that essentially stems them not wanting to settle down and not wanting to have a long-term relationship. And that creates the previous TikTok of people saying, oh, I have a 40 body count or something.
Be told what to do. Whereas in these other countries where traditional values are practiced more, these girls are staying close to their family or living with their family until they find their husbands. These women and young girls are getting guidance from these male figures in their family, such as their dad or their brother.
All right. And so that's the last video, but I think we understand what she's trying to say. Basically, foreign women are just simply more traditional. They're not going to have a 40 body count, things like that. And so, like I said at the beginning, this video, all it is just talking about the theoreticals of being a passport bro. I have not done it, so I don't have a good perspective on it, personally. All I have is video content to go off of. All I have is perspective from Red Pill Bros talking about make your money before you travel. I have the perspective of some MGTOW millionaire that's saying that he has nothing back home, just like I do. But then when he goes overseas, he has nothing still. Then I have the perspective of the quote-unquote lifestyle TikTokers that basically post parties all the time, which I mean, I really doubt, that's going to be my life. Then I have the other perspective of people and women, attacking me for doing this, for traveling, and the stigma around that, and, having to live with the consequences of doing this. Because if I then come back and, you traveled, you're one of those passport bros, right? That's going to have a stigma in and of itself. So there is consequences to doing this, right? And just like there's consequences to like working with service providing women, right? There's consequences to flying over somewhere trying to find a girlfriend in a social circle. And then, I don't know. I guess the other perspective is that just like potentially maybe you will, be happy. Potentially maybe the women there will appreciate you. But I really can't say. I really don't know. So that's kind of just where I'm at. It might just be a huge failure socially. Maybe I'll save some money living abroad. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah. I don't know. So I guess this is like the first React video. I know it was kind of all over the place, but maybe it was entertaining. But I'm kind of interested to hear some thoughts of people that have done it in the comments for sure, because again, I haven't done it. So it's like the main question is, will traveling truly enable me to garner a social circle? Will traveling truly enable me to get dating prospects? That's mainly it. And it's a question that I don't have the answer to. And it's also a question of which country will have the highest potential for me to get those things. And I also don't have the answer to that. And there's so many countries. And within countries, there's so many different cities or so many different places in general to choose. So it's definitely not an easy decision because, like I said, there's so many countries, and within every if we just take that large list of every country and just do like the top 10 or 15 countries that are hotspot destinations for expats, there's multiple cities in each one of those, and then we just put that down to the major cities there, and then we pick the continent that we want. There's still like a handful of options in each continent, right? So it's not an easy decision to make. The part of the language barrier is very scary thing to me, because I just don't know, right? So there's kind of a lot of questions around it, and going international makes just things different. Like laws are different, so you don't know what to expect. And yeah, and then, of course, the other question is, how is dating going to be different? Right? And, will they appreciate someone that doesn't have all of their customs, or will they not? Will they only want to date you on a short-term basis? Or will they, want to settle down? Like, essentially, only the liberal girls in that country want to date you, versus like the conservative girls. Conservative girls will never date a foreigner, for example, right? I know that there's something with that. So are you just going to get like a libtard overseas that has a high body count and, slept around with other foreigners before you? or are you actually going to get like a girl that's, going to be faithful? And then on top of that, with that being said, like, do you have to then create your whole new life in a new country? Things like that. So there's a lot of questions around this. I mean, I would say that aside from life living in this country being terrible and lonely and yeah, aside from that, I would say like this in and of itself is kind of like a really big opportunity that I should be grateful for, like having the ability to do this, right? I should be grateful for that. And I think even if all else fails, maybe I will save money doing this because from what I understand, living costs are a lot more affordable in most of these other countries. So, maybe I can put some money away or something like that. So, even if all else fails, at least I'll have a little bit more cash, I guess. That's one way of looking at it. So, I don't know. There's just a lot of unanswered questions. And, just going over the different questions, the different perspectives to kind of bundle the theory of being a passport bro all together before I go so that I can then touch on it potentially after I go on the experience that I'm experiencing it. As someone that really has nothing back home, like Techly was saying, I really don't have anything back home, here. So, what other options are there necessarily anyway? So yeah, that's kind of just where we're at with that. Also, if you haven't, traveled yourself, let me know if this video format is good. Let me know what improvements I can make. If the audio volume discrepancy was very off, let me know. And yeah, that's all I have to say. If y'all want to send me videos or something like that, that's fine too for me to review. Sometime soon I want to get like a picture or something up there. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.